I put on 30 pounds of muscle during the IB diploma, and you can as well. Hello, Cubs and Grizzlies. My name is Joaquin Ravello, and I'm a current student at the UPenn Wharton Dual Degree Engineering School, and I got a perfect 45 in the IB diploma. And I also improved my overall strength as well as my muscle mass from 130 at the beginning of the IB to 165 to currently I'm sitting at about 162, 163, as you can see in this picture right here. And this is exactly step by step how I did it, all the workout plans I used, my diet, my meal, how I managed to do it with the IB diploma, and then what I suggest you do to fully maximize the most muscle gains you can possibly get. So there have been a few Reddit posts that I saw that said things such as, can you balance going to the gym and the IB? Or how do you stay fit and healthy for the IB? The thing is that Jerry, ever since he started the IB, has been feeling like crap. He's been eating tons of junk food such as ramen, chips, and pizza, and been putting multiple all-nighters. And then when he looks at himself in the mirror, he sees a saggy, run-down person and really questions whether or not there's a better way. And I'm here to tell you that there is a better way. In fact, all the memes, all the stuff you've heard online, Reddit, seniors, what seniors may have told you, that is a possible way. I'm not saying that's not a possible way, but it's not the only way, and it's not the best way. In fact, most students don't understand that it's completely possible to put on tons of muscle, build the physique that you want by the time you finish high school, while also getting perfect scores in the IB diploma. However, with Beer, despite his busy schedule, he still finds a way to grow and build his body. Just like Jerry, Bjorn started out not that strong and without an impressive physique. So he begins going to the gym consistently 6 times a week, and on top of looking good, he begins to feel good and his grades boost as a result. So the first thing I understood about the IB diploma that really just changed my own life when it came to approaching the IB is to understand that the IB diploma, and really all of high school, can be thought of in terms of seasons. Meaning that there are certain times during the school year, during your 2-year IB diploma adventure, that you need to prioritize different things, spend more time on certain disciplines, and then ultimately tweak the actions that you do to match the momentum that you've built for that specific season. Let me give you an example. So one of the seasons in the IB diploma is, as you know, at the beginning of your grade 12 year. This is when you have your IAs due for the most part. You have tons of exams, tons of just things, clubs, university applications, right? You have your extended essay due. You have all of this stuff just due really at the same time in the span of 2 to 3 months. During that season, your priorities are going to be different than, let's say, at the beginning of grade 11, or let's say in grade 9. So for when it comes to working out, this is typically the priorities that I would suggest you follow, and at least this is what I followed during the 4 years of high school. So I didn't start doing actual weightlifting until my grade 11 year. And before that, any strength training that I did was just some light calisthenics. In fact, this is something I probably should have done more of. I should have done more calisthenics. So if there's something I wish I did earlier on, so I'm talking in grade 9, grade 10, leading up to the IB and then part of grade 11, would probably be more calisthenics. And exactly what I mean by that is maybe 3 times a week, I would have just gone to the gym, done some incline push-ups, maybe done some muscle ups, done some skin to cats, anything like that in just the calisthenics gym that allows me to build core strength, likely would have been the move to go. Now, I get a lot of students who ask me whether or not they should be focusing on calisthenics in grade 11 and 12. Well, this is what I have to say about that. I would suggest, and this is what I did, and I think it worked well in my case, I would suggest focusing in grade 11 and 12 when it comes to the gym on building as much muscle as you possibly can. And the reason why is because at the beginning of your gym journey, right, in your physique building journey, you have that period of time known as your newbie gains, which means that in the first year or so, you can put on the most muscle you'll ever put on in your entire life, right? So that may be anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds of muscle in just 1 year. Now, if you tried to, even if you were to work out the exact same, have the exact same diet, the amount of muscle that you could put on, let's say in year 4 or 5, is a fraction of what you could put on in year 1. All right, like myself in my own life, in the last year, maybe I put on 3 to 4 pounds of muscle, somewhere in that range, compared to the first year where I put on 20, and then the second year I put on 10, and then just after that, it kept going down. So you want to utilize that newbie gain period, not to cut, not to do anything sketchy, but to put on as much muscle as humanly possible. Okay, that should be your priority. And that was my priority, at least for the first 2 years or so. The first serious cut I went on was last year. And right now I'm sitting at around 161 pounds. So that kind of gives you a perspective by which to judge your progress. But when I started in grade 11, I was at 130 pounds, something like that. And then by the end of grade 12, I managed to get up to 165. So that's about the time period for myself, at least. The point is, use the first 2 years to put on as much mass as you possibly can. So this is why I suggest that calisthenics are good, but calisthenics is not, the primary focus of calisthenics is not to put on mass. Okay, the primary focus of calisthenics is to be agile, build muscle, build all these smaller core muscles, and really just build very solid body weight strength. All right, and do a lot of very very fun and interesting things. So I would suggest not focusing on calisthenics necessarily for the first 2 years. Focus on putting as much muscle mass as possible. Now, this is where the argument of seasons comes into play, because unlike all these Reddit posts that I see, and I have one in front of me right now, the IB is killing me. I thought I could get more higher marks last year than I was this year. Or the fact that people take the IB so seriously, treating it as a full-time job, which I actually agree. The IB is not a full-time job. All right. In fact, a lot of the Grizzlies who are in the training academy, by the way, end up reporting that by the end of just implementing these strategies that we talk about in this community, they're able to really turn the IB into a side job. Not even that, like smaller than a side project. So by the way, if you want into the Discord community, where all the action is happening right now, you can join and apply actually in the link down below. So in the link in the description down below, apply to our Grizzly Elite Training Academy Discord community. If you're not in that already, we have tons of games, tons of networking opportunities with other ultra high achievers, as well as Ivy League students and myself. If you want to talk to me, by all means, shoot me a message down in Discord, which you can do if you join the community down below. But long story short, what I'm trying to say here is that the IB is not a full-time job, which means you can definitely find the time every single day to work out consistently. And what I suggest, and this is where seasons come into play, you need to be working out with the intention of bulking maybe 5 days, 6 days a week, at least for the first 3-4 years of your newbie phase, which means that during grade 11, all your time needs to be spent on bulking, all right? The main season of grade 11 is to get high grades, okay? Your objective now, if you want to get into a top university, the first half of grade 11 is what I like to call setting expectations, meaning that you set the expectations for how the 2 years are going to go. So you want to make very good impressions. You want to make very good friends with your teachers, right? Get to know them on a personal level, showcase that you actually care about the IB and you want to do well. You'll be surprised how much teachers want to help you when they know those two facts. And then with that, what I did is I set up a schedule where, and I like to call this game over time, where by 6:30 p.m. in the evening, I could no longer do work, all right? It was over. Like the game was over. Like in a football match, like soccer football, but when the 90 minutes hits and the ref puts the whistle out of stoppage time, the game is over. Okay, it's done. There's no more work you can do. So if you set that into your own life, and you say something around the lines of, hey, by 6:30, I can no longer do work, that basically means that from 6:30 until the time you go to bed, you have all that free time for yourself. So what I did in the IB is I utilized that either to work on my extracurriculars or to hang out with my friends or with my family or just go walk with my dog outside or read a book, or I use that time to work out. And typically, especially in grade 11 and 12, I was using that time to work out, all right, with the intention of building mass. Now, you should be bulking as much as possible. So eat at a surplus. You should be reaching maybe like 17, 18% body fat if you're a male, at least until grade 12. And then this is where your priorities change, okay? So in grade 11, you're bulking. Grade 11, part 2 comes. You're maybe working out 5 to 6 times a week, okay? It's definitely possible to do that if you focus in on your high leverage priorities, right? Your highest value tasks, such as doing the question bank with those aha moments as much and as fast as you possibly can. So keep that in mind. You want to be doing it with the aha moments in mind. So that's priority number 1. And then this changes when you get to grade 12, okay? Because when grade 12 begins, the priority is not necessarily to find work-life balance. Because you need to understand that at the beginning of grade 12, this is your golden goose opportunity, all right? Because in those 2 to 3 months, this is where you can truly make impact that's going to shape the rest of your life. In those 2 to 3 months at the beginning of your grade 12 journey. Why is that? It's because you have your university application, all right? Again, this is if you're taking the May exam. So if you're in November, the timing might be a little bit different. But if you're taking the May exam for the IB diploma, those first 2 to 3 months is also when you're going to be applying early or regular, depending on when you apply, for your top university, all right? So if you want to get into Harvard, MIT, UPenn, and the rest of it, this is the time when you're going to be applying at the beginning of grade 12, which means what? Which means that all of your energy, all of your focus, all of your attention, right? We talk about how attention is this limited resource similar to time. And I argue actually that attention is more important than time, because you could be working on something, you could have the time allocated, but if your mind isn't there, right? If you're not attentive to it, you're not going to have the actual power you need to make proper progress in that task. So mind you on that point. But long story short, you need to have all your attention allocated towards getting into that top university, because this right here is where disproportionate gains are made in these 2 to 3 months. Why is that? It's because in these 2 to 3 months, if you put in a little bit more work, and that little bit more work corresponds to you getting accepted into your top university, that difference in results for the rest of your life in getting accepted to your top university and not getting accepted into your top universities is huge. That is massive. That will have a huge impact for the rest of your life, okay? So you need to be putting all of your chips, all of your attention onto getting into your top university. So the question becomes, what should you be then doing during those 2 to 3 weeks, right? If your attention is focused on university admissions, what should you be doing with your workouts? This is what you should be doing. You've already spent about a year or so, maybe a little bit more, bulking. Okay, you're at 18% body fat. You're in that bulk, you're getting massive. You maybe put on already like 20 25 pounds of just mass during that time, which is excellent. Now, your entire objective during this period of time, in these 2 months, is to work out with the intention of cutting. Okay, you want to cut away all the fat that you've gained up over the year or so. All right, and the program that I suggest you follow, okay, and this is specifically for males. If you're a female, there's likely another 3-day program, but for males, I suggest you follow this 3-day program by Greg O'Gallagher. All right, it's called Movie Star Masterclass, something like that. It's an excellent program, and the reason why it's excellent is because it's so in line with the ultra productive lifestyle that we Grizzlies need to be implementing into our everyday life. So essentially what he suggests is you fast until around noon, then you have a few snacks, a very light lunch, and then a huge meal at dinner. Why is this advantageous? Well, you now have all of that time where you're not eating, where you don't need to think about eating. That's number one. So you actually cut down on the amount of time you spend eating. Number two, I also found that when I'm in that fasted state, I'm able to focus so much stronger. Like my ability to sit down and focus is much stronger than it otherwise would be. That's during the fasted state. So I love getting work done in the morning simply because it allows me to focus in so much better when I'm in that fasted state. So I get more done. I'm also more focused, and I found that I need to spend less time eating food because there's just less food to eat, right? If your maintenance calories is, let's say 2,600 or something, mine is around 2,500, 2,700, around that. Depends on how much physical activity I do, but somewhere in that range. If your maintenance calories is, let's say 2,600, you only need to eat 2,200, 2,300 calories in order for you to cut. So if you eat at that amount, which is actually a little bit less, it's pretty nice. You only need to work out 3 times a week. So long story short, in the span of 3 months, you'll cut from maybe 18% body fat all the way down to 13, 14% body fat, and you'll have more free time, and you'll be more effective, and you can utilize your brain power in your most focused period of time in the morning when you're in that fasted state to allocate your attention towards what is your golden goose opportunity, which in this case is getting into your top university and getting those perfect scores. So apart from that, all the other time should be bulking. During my bulk, I went to the gym 5 times a week. It was a simple push, pull, legs routine. So that works pretty well. What I suggest doing, and this is what I did, okay, and again, there's tons of videos that explain this much better, but essentially what I did was I spent maybe 4 months on one routine. So I did push, pull, legs for 4 months straight, and then I switched after those 4 months, or 4 or 5 months, and then I did deload, and then I switched my routine to something different. Okay, for example, maybe instead of doing push, pull, legs, rest, I did a 5 days a week routine. Okay, then I did that for another 4 or 5 months, deloaded, and then I switched up my routine and did a full body routine, maybe for 6 days a week. Deloaded, and then I just kept, and this is basically what I'm doing right now. I'm just repeating through and cycling through those routines that I have. So when it comes to managing your time with workout, it's very simple. Just end your study time at 6:30. The way you do that is by studying question bank, aha moments, that's it. And then 6:30, you work out, you're done. When you're in the cutting season, meaning that you're at the beginning grade 12, only work out 3 times a week. In fact, you can do it Friday, Sunday, and then 1 day in the week where you don't have anything going on. That way it doesn't interfere. So you can optimize it that way. And if you bulk all the other times, that's a base for a pretty solid physique. All right, now a few bonus things to keep in mind. Number one, how do you exactly build this habit? All right, this is what I did. I did for, I believe it was a few months, what I like to call the 1 minute habit, okay, which is basically I'm going to practice a habit, not necessarily to build the body or build the result, but to build the action of doing the habit, right? To build the consistency. What do I mean by that? Well, what I did every single day was I changed. By the time 6:30 came, I changed into my gym clothes. I walked to my basement, and then I did a push-up for 1 minute straight, right? So I did 1 minute of push-ups, maybe I did a pull-up or something. I just did 1 minute of exercise. Okay, after that 1 minute, I was done. Then I came back up, I took a shower, changed back into my clothes, and that's it, right? And I just did that for 2 months or something, or a month or something along that side, where I just went down for 1 minute, and I just did something very simple. I went up, changed, exercised, and then continued on to my day. Now, what this did was that it instilled the discipline of going to the gym every single day. And the reason why I instilled that discipline was because it was very easy to do. It's very easy not, in fact, it's very difficult not to do that, right? One minute a day, right? If I was to ask you, do 1 minute a day of push-ups, you can very easily stay consistent with that. So by building that consistency, you can essentially instill the habits that you need to then expand upon, right? Because doing 1 minute a day won't get you any results, obviously, but you can expand amongst that, right? After I did the 1 minute a day, I expanded that to 15 minutes and then to 30 minutes. And then I was doing it an hour to an hour and a half every single day, and it felt like nothing because I slowly progressed to it. If you try to go shock and just do something huge right away, that's where you're going to find it difficult to stay consistent. And you need to understand that the newbie gain period, you do not want to miss out on that period. Okay, this is like I like to say, this is the opportunity for you to make the most gains possible. So don't sacrifice that. Don't waste it by not being disciplined, okay? Because you're going to waste it, and then you won't have the opportunity, at least as strong, if you were to go all in those 2 years of your newbie gain phase. All right, so make the most out of it. That's really what I'm trying to say. And you can do that by just bulking as much as possible. You don't need to cut for the first year. Okay, I see some students, they're like, when should I start cutting? You shouldn't start cutting at all. Okay, the only reason why I say you should start cutting in grade 12 is because that's what's most convenient, and it also aligns with the objective of getting into a top university. university. But apart from that, you shouldn't be cutting. You should just be bulking as much as possible. All right, then number two thing, that bonus thing that I wish I did earlier was I wish I did more MMA. Okay, I wish I spent more time doing jiu-jitsu. I wish I spent more time doing boxing. I got big into boxing by the time I got here in the university, and then I was doing some Muay Thai and BJJ over the past summer. But I wish I got into this much sooner, because it definitely would have equipped me with the skills that I needed to excel much faster at martial arts right now. So if you're in that position right now, if you're in grade 10 or 11, find a way to add it to your routine where you're doing some sort of martial arts training. It can be jiu-jitsu, it can be boxing, Muay Thai, whatever. Find a way to add martial arts. You will be very happy that you started doing that early, because those skills take time to build. And by the time you're 20, 25, and you have not 5 years, but 10 years of that base, that's powerful. All right, then all this goes without saying that you want to just be eating as healthy as possible. So I'm gonna be making another video about how to optimize your food routine with the IB diploma, with high school, with your parents, with cooking schedule, with your mom cooking you dinner and the rest of it. How do you optimize and eat the healthiest foods that give you the most energy and ultimately increase the likelihood that not only you get that 45, but you also get accepted into your dream top university. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions at all, please join the Discord community down below. That's where I'm answering all my questions, all the concerns. If you want to talk or anything, join down below. All right, that's where all the action is happening. We also have tons of fun games, tons of fun challenges. As of right now, we are currently in the Grizzly Claw Classic, which is this 1 month competition of people being honorable, people being disciplined, right? The Grizzlies and the Cubs posting all their consistency in the chats. So if that sounds like fun, want to win some competitions, want to gamify school, right? School's boring, go down below, join the community. It'll make it so much fun, and ultimately you'll become better because of it. Okay, so I'll see you down there. If you have any questions, leave them below. And until next time, stay grizzly, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.